Hello students, today we are going to discuss e-governance at the local government level. The objective of this paper is to enable the student to understand the concept of e-governance, advantages of e-governance as an enabler of administrative development, working of citizen-centric e-panchayats in India and its advantages, and service delivery as one of the important purposes of e-governance. To begin with, decentralized planning has a long history and cherished one so far as its evolution is concerned in India. The concept, which flourished gradually since the first 5-year plan, has evolved through different stages while giving paramount importance to people's participation in the planning and implementation of such plans. From the original formulation through successive modification to presentation and integration, plan making in rural areas in India has evolved as a responsive democratic political process. Planning has been considered as an intertwined part of development and is also argued to be an instrument to promote an equitable development and inclusive growth. The revolution of information and communication technology has brought a whole new agenda for governance into the realm of possibility. E-governance comprises decisional processes and the use of information and communication technology, ensuring wider participation of citizens in public life. The purpose of implementation of e-governance is to improve governance processes and outcomes with a view to improving the delivery of public services to citizens. Information technology presents many avenues for improving governance. It has opened up new opportunities for governments to manage things differently and in more efficient manner by utilizing information effectively and re-engineering processes. The information and communication technology tools are emerging as important instruments towards the goal of good governance. Since local government is a first interface between citizens and the government, the introduction of e-governance in municipalities and local bodies have assisted in service delivery mechanisms, achieve better information management and transparency, and ensure utmost citizen involvement in governance. E-governance in municipalities are expected to: Number 1, focus on clearly identified list of citizen services that would be covered with clearly laid down service levels and outcomes that would be achieved. Number 2, improve efficiency and effectiveness in interactions between local government and citizens and other stakeholders, for example, non-governmental organizations, community-based organizations, and private sectors. Number 3, improve quality of internal local governments operations to support and stimulate good governance. Number 4, bring about transparency and accountability in the government of urban local bodies. Number 5, enhance interface between urban local bodies and citizens. And number 6, help improve delivery of services to citizens. Against this viewpoint, the present paper tries to give an assessment about how e-governance have brought about transparency, efficiency, effectiveness, accountability, and decision-making when it comes to urban local bodies. Now we come to the understanding of the concept of e-governance. E-governance is the application of information and communication technology to the processes of government functioning for the task of good governance. In other words, e-governance is a public sector's use of ICT, information communication technology tools, with the aim to improve information and service delivery, to encourage citizens' participation in decision making, and make governments more accountable, transparent, and efficient. Different governments and organizations are defining e-governance as per their aims and objectives. E-governance is defined by the World Bank as e-government refers to the use by government agencies of information technologies that have the ability to transform relations with citizens, business, and other arms of government. These technologies can serve a variety of different ends, which is better delivery of government services to citizens, improved interactions with business and industry, citizens' empowerment through access to information, or more efficient government management. The resulting benefits can be less corruption, increased transparency, greater convenience, revenue growth, or cost reduction. As per UNESCO, e-governance is defined as governance which refers to the exercise of political, economic, and administrative authority in the management of a country's affair, including citizens' articulation of their interest and exercise of their legal rights and obligations. E-governance may be understood as the performance of this governance via the electronic medium in order to facilitate an efficient, speedy, transparent process of disseminating information to the public and other agencies, and for performing government administrative activities. Now we come to, discussing the advantages of e-governance in local bodies. It increases citizens' participation in government process. Interactions between industry and government can be improved. Delivery of government services in better manner. Cost reduction in availing or providing government services for both government as well as the citizens. Citizens' empowerment by providing access to all information. Service reaches to citizens rather than citizens reach out for various services. Citizens can avail all information of government through a single window at any time and at any location with a device having an internet connection. It can decrease corruption. It can lead to more efficient and convenient way of utilizing government services. Eliminate human error when it comes to manual processing, sharing information, and finding other government agencies easily and rapidly. Thus, in essence, e-governance is the application of ICT, which is information communication technology, in government functioning to bring in smart governance, implying S for simple, M for moral, A for accountable, R for responsive, and T for transparent governance. When it comes to analyzing SMART, let's start with S, which stands for simple, meaning simplification of rules, regulations, and processes of government through the use of ICT tools, and thereby providing a far more user-friendly government. Number 2, M, moral, which connotes the emergence of an entirely new system of ethical values in the political and administrative machinery. Technology interventions improve the efficiency of anti corruption agencies, police, judiciary, etc. A for accountable, which facilitates design, development, and implementation of effective management information system and performance measurement mechanisms, thereby ensuring accountability of public service functionaries. R for responsive, which is streamlining the process to speed up service delivery and make system more responsive. T for transparent, which means bringing information confined in the government systems or the documents to the public domain and making processes and functions transparent, which in turn would bring equity and rule of law in responses of the administrative agencies. Administrative reforms often have focused on procedural details and restructuring of systems and processes of government organizations. The basic objectives of these reforms is to enhance capabilities of the system. ICT tools can be used and are being used to give further impetus to the process. They help in the government in various ways. First, with the automation of administrative process. A truly e-governed system would require minimal human intervention and would rather be system driven. Automation and computerization of government offices has enabled online carrying of operations and file movements. Budgeting, accounting, data flow, etc., has become very easy. This has increased the efficiency of office operations and processes and has reduced unnecessary delays. Paperwork reduction. An immediate impact of automation would be on the paperwork. Paperwork is reduced to a greater extent with communication being enabled via electronic route and storage and retrieval of information in electronic form. All this has led to the emergence of less paper office. Next is the quality of service. ICT tools helps government to deliver services to the citizens with greater accountability, responsiveness, and sensibility. Quality of service is improved as now the people are able to get services differently and instantaneously, as volumes of transactions and information can be electronically handled and delivered over a wider area through the net and web. Qualitative services becomes possible in least time, in least cost, and in least difficult and greater convenience. By ensuring online redressal of grievances, the accountability of officials is ensured. It also leads to elimination of hierarchy. ICT has reduced procedural delays caused by hierarchical processes in organizations. Through internet and LAN, it has become possible to send information and data across various levels in the organization at the same time. Next is a change in administrative culture. With e-governance, public actions coming under general glare would certainly induce norms and values of accountability, openness, integrity, fairness, equity, responsiveness, and justice in the administrative system. Rather, administration would become efficient, effective, as well as responsive. Also, it leads to effective service delivery. ICT plays an important role in effectively delivering services to the people. ICT ensures transparency by dissemination and publication of information on the web. It leads to economic development by reduction in transaction cost, which makes services cheaper. It also enables social development by empowering citizens through information, allowing them to participate and voice their concerns, which can be accommodated in the program, project formulation, implementation, monitoring, and service delivery. Strategic information systems by providing information to the management regarding all aspects at every point to make routine as well as strategic decisions. Now we come to the citizen centric e panchayats that have been working in India. In recent past, the Indian government has revived local self-government with more power and financial resources devolved on them in order to make them more people-centric and effective instruments of governance at people's doorstep. This is evident from the fact that Government of India has pondered upon to the proliferation of electronic networks throughout the country for governance down at the village level shortly and has already passed the Information Technology Act 2000 as well as the Work Plan in 2003. Since then, the information and communication technology was introduced at grassroots level governance, commonly known as e-panchayats, which were first adopted in Andhra Pradesh and later by other northern Indian states like Rajasthan, Maharashtra, and now Bihar. E-panchayats or e-panchayat systems is web-based and entirely and functions like an application service provider, enabling panchayat level digital services for all stakeholders. The stakeholders here are the citizens, elected representatives, Gram Panchayat officials, the governments, and the knowledge workers. It promotes virtues of good governance and deepens democratic values in society. It creates an environment in which people feel empowered, establishes a system that ensures people can easily avail themselves to their fundamental right to information, and broadens the scope of local government. Several state governments have also taken initiatives to set up e-panchayats to facilitate the development process and provide easy access to information to citizens. States such as Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, Haryana, Goa have set up panchayats portal to provide information regarding development schemes such as National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, organizational and departmental setup, development policies, annual reports, notifications, evaluation reports of development programs, status of development schemes, revenues, etc. The common feature of the portals is that they give information in local languages like Hindi, Gujarati, Kannada, etc., and about issues concerning local people. These portals also act as a platform for users to know whom they have to approach for the process of their application and resolution of grievances. In the early 1990s, the Indian Parliament, by enabling the Indian Constitution, has strengthened local self-government by devolving more functions and finances on them through the 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act. The three-tier PRIs or Panchayati Raj institutions have been made more people representative and functioning for the purpose of rural development. But the traditional pattern of functioning carried all maladies of macro-level governance. People remained ignorant and corruption prevailed. As the Indian government policy went for not only strengthening the intra-organizational functioning of the institution, but also making them transparent in order to empower people to apply social audit. E-panchayats are nothing but the Panchayati Raj institutions equipped with ICT tools for all its functions. Now we come to some of the important features of e-panchayats in India. First, we start with inter-organizational coordination. The whole gamut of above discussion kind of can be summed up as the use of ICT at panchayat level governance has been to empower the villagers with knowledge and information and better service delivery on their demand. For this, the internal management of resources within organization should be appropriate. As such, e-panchayats does also require the information network for acquiring, storage, analysis, and dissemination of information within the organization. The elected executives and appointed executives are equally accessible to whatever information they require. This minimizes the point of difference. Also, information and democracy. Democratic governance requires wider people participation, which is possible only if people are properly equipped with information. As such, the governmental organizations has to be by nature an information-intensive organization. Thus, democratic governance is an information-centric process. Citizens' right to information. Another conceptual dimension of e-panchayats relates to functions as a vehicle of ensuring citizens' right to information. The right to information empowers citizens with the right to demand information and governments with the duty to supply. E-panchayats can enable the governments to meet its obligations under the right to information by simplifying the delivery process. People as stakeholders. The concept of governance has changed a lot, and citizens are now not considered as simple beneficiaries, rather stakeholders or shareholders of the entire development process who seek several information on the functioning of the government as well as provide several inputs that help policy-making process on the one hand and as customers of the government demand better services. As such, the e-panchayats becomes information receiver, information provider, service provider, and feedback seeker. In short, it transforms a citizen from beneficiary to stakeholder. Now we come to service delivery, which is considered to be one of the most important aspects of e-panchayats. Now, people are always at trouble when they have to get certificates related to caste, income, domicile, etc. from the government organizations and even the panchayat bodies. The e-panchayats are able to generate computerized certificates like trade licenses, caste certificate, income certificates, domicile certificates, etc. on one click without taking the services of agents as the information would be stored in the ICT networks from anywhere through the internet and internet provider. The information about one's placement in the below poverty line list of beneficiaries of various schemes, including social security schemes, can easily be accessed from the CSCs of panchayat bodies. People in general are also ignorant and unaware of the welfare and development programs and their position. E-pronouncement of data relates to development work in the locality like Sham Vikas, Pradhan Mantri Gramin Sadak Yojana, etc. becomes easily accessible. The most useful service in favor of the poor is the public distribution system. It is reported that most of the PDS commodities, especially the food commodities, are sold in the black market in Indian states. It is true in case of both the northern and the southern states of India. But the e-panchayats can be used to enable or help in displaying the stock available to the fair price shops, dealers and beneficiaries, taking off the rationed food commodities. In this way, siphoning out of rationed food commodities will be checked and the identification of real beneficiaries can be done. All these functions of e-panchayats are to be done through the IT mechanisms, which can be termed here as the architecture of e-panchayats. The electronic architecture of panchayat functioning is web-based and entired. It functions like application service provider for all panchayat level digital services to all the stakeholders. The stakeholders here are citizens, elected representatives, Gram Panchayat officials, the government and the knowledge workers. At panchayat level, an ordinary client with internet access is sufficient to implement e-panchayats. With this, we come to the conclusion of our discussion. Creating simply the software and modules cannot work. It is people, not the goods, that make things go. Thus, it is imperative to ensure the successful implementation of the network in the shortest period with optimum efficiency and cost effectiveness. It is generally alleged that the hurdles come in the way to deliver good for the people by a government organization. The first and foremost among them is lack of infrastructure, IT infrastructure, the e-readiness of the people to use the ICT tools at panchayat level. Other challenges are non-availability of centralized database, lack of connectivity among officers of various departments, lack of departmental coordinations, lack of skilled hands, and the non-standard procedures and practices. The cost effectiveness can only be assured if it is maintained and operated by people themselves. Nonetheless, e-panchayats are the need of the hour as people in rural areas in South Asian nations are still deprived of basic facilities for a decent life. Common wisdom says that poverty and deprivation exist not only due to lack of resources but also persist because of inefficient and malfunctioning institutions. The emerging knowledge society and information revolution, panchayats should not be left in isolation. They should be provided with adequate technological resources in order to be able to play a meaningful role in the course of development of these developing countries. With this, we come to the end of our discussion. Thank you.